Hey everybody. Today I'm taking a step back from continuing the positive, inspiring messages. Again, this is Avi Ablo talking on Ari Fuld's Israel Defense page to keep you all updated and connected with the Ari Fuld messaging that is so important to get out to the world, even though Ari physically is no longer with us. All right, for those who are new, who are just joining or just finding out, yes, Ari Fuld, one of my closest friends, soulmate, partner in getting the truth out to the world about Israel and the Jewish people, brutally murdered only days ago, only days ago on Sunday. All still trying to process, and how do we move on? How do we compartmentalize the sadness yet move on with the positive? So I've given a couple of videos about that, but now I'm gonna dive into the fire and passion side of Ari that you guys all know about too. All right, because these are things that have to be said, and I've been focused on the positive. And I want to go deep dive into the truth for you, all right? And this is important that we all get the word out. All right, this is the situation as it stands right now, everybody. Ari was murdered by a person, by a terrorist, educated, incited, rewarded by a sick society that calls itself Palestinians, which is a made-up term, a made-up people created for one purpose and one purpose only, to destroy Israel and kill Jews. That's the simplicity about our conflict today that too many people wash over and ignore or do not even want to accept. All right? Now, what happened? This sick individual who is a product of the society he's living in, and he's still alive, right? Palestinian Authority, PLO, Hamas, they're all the same. They all want to kill Jews. They all want to destroy Israel. And he went out to stab a Jew. From all the intelligence information that I have read and heard so far, Ari was not targeted. I repeat, Ari was not targeted because of who he was as an outspoken spokesperson for Israel, who you knew so well, and for his passion for Israel, and as for his pulling away the facades and the lies and the hypocrisy of those who disagree with us, who believe, oh, we have to give away our land in order to make peace with these fake people who want to destroy us. No, Ari was not targeted. Intelligence services are saying that this murderer, this sick 16 or 17-year-old boy, was just out to kill someone or as many people as he could, and Ari was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and Ari was stabbed and murdered. Now, follow this. Please follow closely. What happened was, miraculously, okay? Some of you know this already, but I'm filling it in for all of you who do not. Miraculously, even though Ari's lung and main artery were punctured and cut, and the knife removed, where according to all medical expertise, Ari should have fallen in his place and just died or not been able to move. After being stabbed, Ari turned around, hit the guy, and then chased after him and then shot him. Superhuman. Which everyone says that's Ari. Doesn't make any sense. Superhuman. Okay, bear with me. Now, as you all know, the narrative that the whole world is talking about, or those media outlets that are talking about it, because the New York Times didn't think that this news about Ari's murder by a Palestinian Authority-supported terrorist who's now got an advanced reward of $3,300 for murdering a Jew is newsworthy enough for the New York Times or other main news outlets out there in the Western world. But for those news outlets that did report, and for the state of Israel and for the Jewish world, Ari is is being written down in the history books as a hero. Not just a hero in how he ran after and chased down this terrorist who was about to go on a stabbing rampage, killing more people or injuring more people, and Ari stopped that, even though he should have been dead. But also for the hero he was in his life. Okay, that is the narrative today. Thank God, everyone is now looking at Ari as a hero who we miss here in this world, and instead he's up in the heavens helping us from up there. All right, I'm not discounting that. That's the story as we know it. Let me tell you the other story. This might shock some of you, okay? This might shock some of you because this story I'm about to tell you came this close to becoming the truth that the media was talking about. This close. It's a shocking story, and it's a story that we're all going to be really upset about, but I'm telling you, we were this close from what I'm about to tell you to becoming the true story instead of what I just told you is the true story. If, and this is an if because it didn't happen, but we have to understand this. If Ari had survived the attack, okay, which obviously we all prefer, but if Ari would have survived the attack and he'd be alive today, and he would have done what he was trained to do, and that is shoot and kill that murdering terrorist stabber who would have only been killed because he had stabbed Ari or other people, but not because he murdered anyone. Again, if Ari had survived, if he would be alive today, and he would have been stabbed but lived to tell the tale, and shot and killed the terrorist, instead of a fundraising campaign that people around the world are donating, close to $800,000 for his family, for his wife, for his 4 children, today, again, if he would have been alive and survived the attack and instead killed the stabber, we would be raising money for his legal campaign. Okay, I don't know if everyone understands what I'm trying to say. Because the left-wing organizations out there, the human rights organizations out there in Israel and the Western world would have blamed Ari for murdering an innocent terrorist because his back was to him and he was running away and Ari had no right to kill him. Do you get what I'm saying, folks? This has happened in recent history. We have Israelis who try to defend themselves from murderers, from terror attacks, who shoot in the air or shoot at the terrorists and are then placed in jail, have their guns confiscated from them. Legal campaigns necessary to help them in the court of law in defense against being accused of injuring or murdering terrorists who deserve to be killed. All right? Again, for all of you who miss Ari's fire and passion, I'm not Ari, but I'm trying to get to where he'd be going right now with this. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with Ari, this is what he would be talking about right now. Israel, and this is the Western culture today that has overtaken the elite of Israel as well as the elite of America and Western Europe that we are witnessing with our eyes. The elite who are globalists, who are against national identity, who as long they go according to the more Marxist communist mantra that the weak and defenseless, so the weaker ones need the support, and if you have power, then you are automatically the bad guy. So Israel and Jews are automatically the bad guy and put on trial, even by our own, against the weak terrorists who are using terror as a last resort because of their frustration, of downtroddenness and occupation that, of course, we all know are all lies. right? They are a culture of hate, a culture of hatred. That's why they're killing us. They don't need an excuse to murder us. They educate their children to murder us every day in their schools, and they pay rewards to the murderers. And that your taxpayer money of America and Europe goes to, well, America hopefully is stopping, to these murderers, because the Palestinian Authority gets all this tax money, and then it gives hundreds of millions to terrorists and their families. Okay, but you get what I'm saying here? We are in a war, and this is all of us. This isn't just us in Israel. This is this elite, anti-nationalist agenda. Okay, folks? And here in Israel, Ari and we stand up for being proud Jews. And that could be translated for you. If you're an American, be a proud American. You're British, be a proud British. You're French, be proud French. Don't give in to this. There is no nationality anymore. And all minorities and multiculturalism. Yeah, everyone has their own identity, but don't lose your identity. Be proud of your identity. Stand up for your identity to survive. Multiculturalism is being used to destroy and have our national identities disappear in this fake talk of multiculturalism, where it's basically allowing Islam to overtake our cultures. That's basically what multiculturalism is turning into in America and Europe, and what they're trying to do in Israel as well. All right, but you get it, folks? Right now, if Ari had survived the attack and killed the terrorist, Ari right now would be possibly in jail or facing a court sentencing, and we'd be having to raise money for his legal defense, which shows you how much we have to do to change the narrative, everybody. That is despicable. We have to get rid of these globalists from our power centers, in the legal authorities, in the legal system, in the Israeli army. They're everywhere in the Israeli army as well, whether as lawyers, whether as high-ranking officers. There is an organization called the New Israel Fund, and it has partner organizations and organizations it gives money to. They run seminars for Israeli soldiers and officers and high-ranking officers, teaching them that caring about the lives of innocent civilians in a conflict zone is more important than caring about the lives of Israeli soldiers. No! We should do everything we can to protect the lives of innocent civilians caught in a conflict zone, but first and foremost, we protect our soldiers. If innocent civilians are in that conflict zone, it is the fault of those who are in conflict with us, whether it's Hamas, whether it's the Palestinian Authority. They are using their own people as human shields. We cannot sacrifice our own soldiers to protect their human shield that then they use against us in the media to make us look bad. I prefer, and Ari preferred, saving the lives of our soldiers and our Israeli citizens over looking bad in the media. It is that simple. But the globalists don't think that way. And you're talking about within our own society as well. They prefer that we risk and sacrifice our own lives so we don't look bad in the media. They prefer putting an Israeli soldier on trial and putting him in jail for shooting a terrorist who tried to kill innocent Israelis or Israeli soldiers, rather than the media make us look bad for shooting a terrorist who's on the ground. That is crazy. So we have a lot to do to make changes. And again, I'm talking to you about Israel. But this isn't just Israel. This is a thread of the same issue that touches Israel, America, the Western world. It is all of us. We are in this together. Don't think you could be silent about the issues in Israel because you live in Britain or you live in America. No. You are helping yourself and your own agenda of your own identity and your own people and nation wherever you live around the world by standing with Israel and making your voice heard regarding our issues as well. And we will be there for you. Ari and I and our colleagues, we stand up for these issues across the world because we know they're the same. Muslim terror is the same everywhere. Israel, America, Britain, France, Sweden. It is the same. This globalist agenda of erasing national identities and allowing multiculturalism, which is really the overtaking of Islam in our societies, it is the same everywhere. We have to stand tall together, side by side. I need you to stand up and call out and say, get rid of this agenda to put Israelis on trial for shooting and defending themselves because the terrorists should be killed. And if they're not killed, they should what? Get the death penalty. Yes, Israel still, it has a death penalty on the books, but the legal system, the Supreme Court, and the legal apparatus does not implement it. It puts roadblocks up for the government to implement it. We have to make a call to the Israeli government, overcome those roadblocks. Do what you have to. The Israeli people are sick of one Jew after another Jew, innocent, man, woman, child, elderly, being killed, and that the terrorists then are able to go to jail, watch television, get doctorate degrees, and wait to be freed years later. Do you know that the mayor of Hebron, right? The Arab city of Hebron, they like to tell you that Hebron is the Jews are making life crazy for Arabs. Oh, guys, tell people, get with the program. 97% of Hebron is Arab and Judenrein, Jew-free. It's a huge Arab city. They live free of the Israeli army. They live free of us settlers. The Arab mayor of Arab Hebron was a jailed murderer. He was a terrorist. He served time in jail. He was freed in one of the kidnapping exchange deals. I don't remember which one. And he is now the mayor of Hebron, the Arab mayor of the Arab city Hebron. That's how ludicrous our reality is. That we just accept the fact that a murderer who murdered innocent Jews and sat in Israeli jail was then freed years later and is looked at as a respected mayor of an Arab city. This must end. A terrorist who is not killed after his act of terror should then go to military court and be put to death and not be able to go to jail and earn a doctorate degree and have the hope that he could be freed one day. He should be even have his conjugal visits taken away. I mean, family visits. It's like what Israel does everything to allow these to allow these terrorists, these murderers, to have all the benefits of sitting in jail that the Israeli taxpayer pays for, and then we have to continue mourning and waiting for the next murder, and then the next batch of terrorists who are then freed. So someone's asking, what's the plan to end it? Step one, scream your lungs out, folks. We have to call out these issues so that the elected officials finally do something and make the changes necessary to the justice system. It's the justice system and the politicians who don't want to push the justice system because they're afraid of certain things. So we have to first talk about this issue. So get knowledgeable about this issue. Watch this video again. Share this video. The only way we're going to get a death penalty for these terrorists, and the only way we're going to get these terrorists to stop getting doctorate degrees and conjugal visits and family visits and television rights to watch whatever they want on cable television while sitting in jail is if there is a loud outcry by the public. Start it now. Start it in Ari's memory. Start it because that's what Ari would be doing. Thank you everyone for watching. This is Ari's very close friend, Avi Abelo, who misses him dearly, but wants to make sure his voice and his messages live on and continue to grow in making an even bigger impact to make our world an amazing world, to make Israel an even better country. Because when Israel's an amazing country, it's a blessing for all of humanity. And that means us Jews are everywhere in our country, in Jerusalem, in Tel Aviv, across Judea and Samaria, in our biblical ancestral homelands where only the Jews have the right, the national rights to be here. Because the only reason we have any right to this land is because we're Jews. That's it. There's no other reason. This land belongs to the Jewish people. I'm able to live here. My parents were able to move here because we're Jewish. That's it. That is the reason, folks. Nobody else has any other national rights to this land. They came later. They were occupiers. They were conquerors. The Muslims came thousands of years after the Jews. And these are the messages Ari want to be spread and shared around the world. So help Ari do it. I'm just a messenger. Shalom, everyone, from the amazing, amazing capital of the Jewish people for all of eternity, Jerusalem.